Hello beautiful people and welcome back to another video. Thanks so much for stopping by. This week at my work we're hosting an International Food Day. What we've been told is to bring a plate of food from your country. For me, obviously I'm bringing something from New Zealand, but I am finding it quite difficult because, you know, New Zealand is very much dominated by a meat and kind of 3 veg type cuisine, so it's going to be a little bit hard for me to veganize that. Also, I thought this would be a good opportunity to share with you guys tips and advice I have for socializing as a vegan in a non-vegan dominated environment. So I'm going to give you some of my tips along the way. I'll show you what I'm cooking and maybe there might be a recipe for you. I hope you enjoy this video. Don't forget to like this video for more recipes and subscribe. So when I think of iconic New Zealand food, I think of hangi, fish and chips, mince and cheese pies, LMP. I'll say pavlova, but that could start an argument with some Australians. Hokey pokey ice cream, Marmite, pineapple lumps, Edmund's cookbook, kiwi dip. So I'll show you what I got from the shops and I'll show you what kind of food I'm gonna make. I got some LMP. Now there's actually a bit of a story about this, which I'll tell you later. I got some Whittaker's chocolate, strawberries, of course. I had to get some kiwi fruit, blueberry chips, and last but not least, I got some this plus this, so this plus this equals an amazing dip. It's not something that I can eat now because it's not vegan. This stuff here is reduced cream, but I am gonna take this because it is very iconic. If you come from New Zealand, everyone's obsessed with this. I've got my ingredients that I'm working with today, as you just saw. So I took my inspiration from the Edmund's cookbook because there's lots of yummy baking in there that reminds me of my childhood, and I used to love baking a lot when I was little. And I'm gonna make something that's called an Afgan. So if you don't know what an Afgan is, which I know a lot of people won't, it's like a chocolate biscuit that's got crunchy cornflakes in it, and it makes like this amazing little like biscuit. Man, it's good. And I found out through the recipe that it's actually really easy to make, and the only non-vegan product in there is butter. So butter comes from dairy, so that's not vegan. So instead of using butter, I'm gonna use this stuff here, which is just a dairy-free margarine. You can get it in all supermarkets, and I like it because it's the buttery version, so I'm hoping that will replicate butter and that kind of fat, I guess you would say, that butter gives you in baking, and it's just so good. So I'm going to use this and just really basic ingredients that most of you will probably have in your house. So we'll go into that recipe first, and then I'll show you what else I'm going to make with all of this stuff. Okay, I've just seen that I've just spilt something on my top. We're just gonna have to deal with it because when you wear a white t-shirt, that's what happens, you spill shit on yourself. Okay, so you would have seen from my ingredients list that I actually did include some non-vegan items. So really, that's my first tip, is that in some situations we have to compromise. For example, I buy my boyfriend non-vegan food. I go to cafes and go to restaurants that are non-vegan. So what I'm trying to get at is that you've got to compromise in situations. I'm not saying that compromise your values as such. That's why I'm gonna bring some non-vegan items and some veganized items. I have included some non-vegan food, and that's in the terms of this kiwi dip. Now kiwi dip is iconic and it is something that I want to showcase. I'm not going to be eating it myself, and you can either agree with me or disagree with me that it, you know, giving it to people is not a vegan thing. It's not something that I'll do all the time, and this is definitely just a one-off thing. So in order for me to feel some sort of normality in social situation, then I'm going to do my best to be there and to be present and not isolate myself because it's not my ideal situation. So that brings me on to my tip or advice number 2. Bring vegan food or eat vegan food beforehand. So if you've got, say, like a birthday party or a kid's party or, you know, any kind of event that you're going to be going to where you know things are going to be non-vegan and there's not going to be many friendly vegan options for you, then my suggestion would be to eat beforehand so that you're not tempted to eat these other foods, or so that you can, you know, still be present in the moment and not feel like you have to exclude yourself from the conversation or from the party just because there's not anything there for you. By doing that in the beginning, it means that you can be present there. It actually kind of stresses non-vegan people to have an option for vegan people because they think, oh my god, like what do they eat? So actually having that conversation with the host, or, you know, having that conversation with your friends can actually cut out half the stress for everyone, and just saying, okay, so you would have seen that I've put my spread together. Do you know on like Instagram how everyone's doing those like grazing platters? That's how I kind of wanted to present it to everyone. Now this is a kiwi dip I was telling you about, non-vegan, but I also bought some hummus. I wanted to tell you about this. So LMP. So with my work, I actually work for a soft drink company here in Australia. And so unfortunately, because this soft drink is owned by our competitors, I actually am unable to bring it on site. It's kind of just like you wouldn't turn up in Adidas sneakers to Nike. I'm gonna somehow try to sneak in the LMP so that everyone can taste it, because it's only in New Zealand, and I think it's a very iconic thing to showcase to my work friends. So that brings me on to my third tip of socializing while being a vegan. Now, if you're going out to restaurants, or if you're going to be at birthday parties or going to any kind of events that's at a restaurant, then I would highly suggest looking at the menu before you go, and it's going to save you a whole lot of hassle and a whole lot of stress for when you actually come to ordering your meal out. Or if in doubt, you can always just get a vegetarian meal and then just remove the dairy, which is usually in there, and make sure you get some dressing on the side, because it could be a creamy dressing, and that makes it a lot more easier. It takes the stress off. It means you can still be present with the people that you're going to be with, and it means you don't have to miss out. So just by reading the menu before you go, it will save you a whole lot of hassle and a whole lot of drama for when it comes to ordering your meal. So I'm gonna finally sit down and enjoy some of these snacks while I talk to you about my next tip, because I feel like this video is getting quite long, and I actually have been filming all day, so I'm kind of running out of light, hence why the light has kind of changed throughout this whole video. So I'm sorry about that quality, but all good. Let's just have a bit of a taste test of the Afgan. How cute is it though? I love it. Let's have a look. It is good, except it's just a little bit too crunchy. Like, I'd like it to be a bit more soft. I might just have to tweak that recipe a little bit. I'll leave the actual recipe down below. So my fourth tip for you guys is avoid the debate as much as possible. So you guys know what I'm talking about. It's when there's that one person in the room that just feels the need to start debating with you about your values when it comes to being a vegan. If you find someone is curious and actually asking questions, then the best thing you can do is give clear answers and have an open, loving heart. because I find that in my experiences, when you're debating your point or trying to argue your point, you end up just getting so angry and frustrated that your point just never comes across. I would say to that person, you know, suggest some articles, suggest some books, or even some video content that you can send to them so that they can make their own decision about it. And then that means it takes the pressure off you having to explain and have facts ready to go, and you can actually just let them watch it, and then you can just leave it with them to build their own opinion about veganism rather than feeling attacked like, you know, you need to give them every answer. Anyone else eat the kiwi fruit skin, or is it just me? It's so good. My last and final tip of the day is encourage your friends and family to try something new. So whether that means a new cafe, a new smoothie, a new restaurant, or something that you've made for them. And the best part and the most satisfying part is when people go, oh my gosh, this is actually so good. And then you're like, duh, like I wouldn't be doing this otherwise. And I find I have a lot of those moments when people go, wow, this is actually really good. So I would just say encourage people. Don't force yourself onto people. If you're going out to a restaurant or you want to try a new cafe, a lot of my friends will know this, that I will always be the first one to suggest somewhere to go that's got a vegan option that I really want to try. I'm finding that, especially in Melbourne, that there's so many options now. I don't want people to make me try and feel special. I just want to feel normal again. That's my tips and advice on being vegan, and I really hope you liked the recipe and the food that I showed you today. Please leave me a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time. Bye.